Hi, this video is primarily intended for the serious RAYID students who are interested in what's really happening over the years, and for those primarily in the Global Friends group. The Global Friends group was actually started by myself last September, and I wanted to set in motion a group of people who would acknowledge each other's existence in the world and send inspiration to each other. And the reason for this was following the principle of acknowledging something global would increase the amount of energy available to be able to change, grow, and support each other. So the Global Friends program really began in earnest in December. And it was about utilizing the 4 postures periodically through the day. And that was pretty much, it was designed not to be intrusive, no expectations, no demand, nothing about the need to communicate, you're free to communicate, and so on. That began pretty enthusiastically. And then I noticed that around 3 months, it hit a predictable wall. To me, 3 of anything, a cycle of 3, 3 months, 3 years, has a specific diameter to it or a particular issue. Now, for me, the number 3 also corresponds holographically to the 3rd sphere, the 3rd chakra, the 3rd grandparent, and so on and so on. I see them all as coexisting units. So that's my languaging. So the goal was to be able to produce a 5, a global community. To me, that would be global. And there was now, we had 33 people, and I limited to 33 for particular reasons about numeric cooperation. And so 33 people from 11 different countries, all simultaneously in their own way doing these postures. And so that limit at the 3-month cycle to me was predictable, but I noticed that it was stronger than I had thought it might be. Now, right around that 3rd month, I got a communication from one of the members of our group, whose name was Anmisha. Those of you who are in the group, you would recognize who she is. She's a woman from India, in her early 40s, not in good health at the time, blind in one eye, having many other physical problems, but wanted to engage in this. And she was communicating with me on a regular basis about her health, and she was struggling with her health on that 3rd month. I didn't hear from her, and then on the 4th month, her husband informed me that she had passed away from a heart attack. And that really troubled me. I wondered to what degree the program might have contributed to it. So I went inside and I spent about the last 2 months examining the possibility or probability that yes, the probability is that when you really want to raise your attention to the level of global, and you do that with actual other people, yes, I think that you will increase the amount of life force available to either perpetuate your self-sabotage or increase your growth or increase your law of attraction, which is basically what it did. So my conclusion is, yes, we probably contributed to the overall energy that she got, and yes, her system was unable to process it. That's my opinion in this moment. Yes, I think that doing something global is actually more serious than we think, so I'm reevaluating it. I have decided to continue my emotional commitment to this group until September, as we'd originally agreed. But I wanted to keep you informed about how I feel, what's going on. And putting this video out, and I would really like to know what members of this Global Friends group sincerely wants to continue until September. So if I don't hear from somebody on the group, I'm just going to assume they no longer want to be involved. I will assess who's continuing, and I will agree to keep my own attention on them during that time period and share more enthusiastically about what's going on with myself, but some of that I will be doing privately within that group. So I want to do the global group, but I only want to do it with people who are aware of the potential caveats in this. And by that, I mean, you already have noticed in the last month, 6 weeks, really between March, April, mostly March, April, and a little bit of May, that you hit a wall. To me, that wall has to do, what it looks like is numbness, and tiredness, a general lethargy to continue other things, a desire to return to previous addiction to some substance or activity or avoidance mechanism. You have to be self-aware that your law of attraction took an intense increase forward, and be aware that it's likely to do that again, likely by late July or August, because we're really talking about April, May, June. So somewhere around July, that other cycle of 3 kicks in, which is another increase of opportunity. I'm not saying, hey, it's going to cause you to lose your life. I'm saying it is likely to be uncomfortable at certain stages of this. But honestly, I don't know. This is an experiment that I'm engaged in. Later on, I'd like to share with you that in the process of doing this, I spent a considerable amount of my private time exploring the wall. And by that, I mean that when we were increasing our emotional commitment and our emotional desire to want to grow, it's like this helix. We were using this helix, the sincere desire to grow into the soul that I am uniquely, each of us being unique, and then supporting the other people and the group. That's what the basic underlying goal was. And our goal was to send something simple, just inspiration, just acknowledgement and inspiration, keeping it as clean as possible. Now, in the process of me examining what happened with Anmisha and examining this, I became more aware of the magnitude of the wall. By that, I mean at each one of the levels, particularly 3 and particularly 5, there is a particular boundary at 1, 3, and 5, which is quite strong. This corresponds to family, community, and global. So when you enter into that last one, global, the magnitude of energy increases. Now, what I found by going up to this point is I realized it was a natural result of the accumulation or the collective consciousness of human suffering. And wow, if you consider the magnitude of that, to go up to the wall of human suffering, it has a natural repulsiveness to turn you away from it, to create doubt, concern, fear, worry, and some form of anxiety or tiredness. The movement away from it is natural. To turn toward it and deal with it is not natural. It is a choice you have to make. So I've been making that choice to go right up to that wall, get a good look at it, look at how it functions. And there are some other things that I'm not willing to share here just in the moment. But I saw some other things that I also am still examining. But I wanted to share with you that if you want to continue between now and September, I'm going to continue, but I want to know who you are, that you're involved. And I would like you to communicate with me privately or publicly about what your emotions are as you go forward so that we can learn how to deal with this. Now, part of this is I'm going to do a series of videos on empathy and the very important development of discernment, because in order to go up to that level 5 wall, you need the ability to discern, have empathy, to be able to distinguish your contribution versus somebody else's. So I'm myself dropping all the way back while still doing global, the awareness of those who are involved. I'm coming back to and spending a considerable amount of time doing to girl. That's the lake, that's peace, that's sunset, that's self-image, that's feelings, that's a whole series of other things, including empathy and discernment. So I need to increase the magnitude of my commitment to do this particular location before going any further in my pursuit of what the design is or function of that global wall or the other barrier that I perceived around it. So that's where I am. I'm still quietly examining myself. I have personal issues around the feeling of all of this, and now I'm committed to change the program. I will let you know that there are several new programs coming. I will detail them in a few weeks about how to move forward. I'm starting a significant new program in September. I will personally be involved in that for at least 18 months, probably 27. I'll describe what it is, how it works, why it's important, and virtually everything that we discuss should be logical. It should have an intent, it should have a purpose, it should have a goal, it should be something that you can understand, something that feels right. Your conscience tells you, yeah, you can experiment with something like this. You need to be genuinely clear that this is a significant, important thing to do, and it's not a small deal. This is not a casual do something, drop by. You can observe us doing this, but for the people who want to continue, there is some serious work to do, and I'm doing that work myself right now. I am going to suggest to the group that wants to continue, certain things are important to do. That's why the empathy and the discernment will be part of what I do next. So this is where I am, and I'd like to hear from you. And I thank you all of you who participated, whether you knew it or not. And if you've decided to go elsewhere, bless you. Good luck on your journey of truth. And for those of you who want to communicate, just communicate, and we will move forward together. See you soon.